I'm interested in sending something, message that we ought to give our senior citizens a few peanuts more. I think that we owe our seniors of this county, not only this county, but this country that has paid taxes and made this country for the last 60, 70 years. I think we owe them a whole lot more. You know, ever since I've been involved in politics, we've been told on issues like health care and senior citizens and even children's programs, there's just no money. There's just not enough money. We found out here in the last couple of weeks that there's all kinds of money for everything. Ever since last October and November, there's hundreds of billions of dollars available for Wall Street bankers. There's, as JR said, there's billions available for car companies that don't even do all their business in the United States of America. There's been money for everything. So this whole argument, well, there's just no money for seniors or programs, that's a bunch of hooey anymore. I mean, it's all about our priorities. What are our priorities? And I'm disappointed to see none of our state or federal legislative representatives here this morning. I thought this agenda item would at least spur enough interest in them to come and see what people are talking about. But if we're going to start small, but this has to be, as Supervisor Colfax says, you know, this has to be a top of our legislative push at the state level and the federal level to do something. And I thank JR and the folks that are helping him to, you know, maybe I needed to be kick-started on this issue. It's kind of like, you know, it's real popular in politics to talk about helping the seniors, but it really comes down to it, like you say, we've been giving them the leftovers and very few leftovers, and it's got to change because we got to make the people that have supported and paid the taxes and run this country for the last 60, 70 years, we've got to treat them at least with the respect that they deserve. And so in order to move this along, I could talk all afternoon on this, but we need to jumpstart this somehow, and it seems to come to us, and I'm willing to take on the challenge. So if we can, if it's all right with the board, if we can refer this to our Health and Human Services with Susan and to work with JR and maybe the CEO's office or whatever is necessary to come up with a resolution that with this base, I think it's a good start, but I want to see something that's really going to have something that somebody's going to read and really say, hey, you know, there's a problem here. We have to deal with it. So that would be where if we can direct that just to be done. Supervisor Brown?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I put forth a motion. If I don't have a second, I can withdraw it.
Would you repeat your motion?
But actually, I think that's something we can just do by direction.
Okay.
Essentially, you're asking for what the chair just asked for.
All righty.
That's correct. You don't need a motion for that.
Okay.
So do we have clear direction, Carmel? It's basically, I believe it's your agency that will start this off. Okay. Okay.
Question for the
Sure.
for the chair to Supervisor Brown's follow-up comment. I believe that it wouldn't be appropriate to get it into the legislative platform per se now because this is just a project list. However, we're going to be meeting in February, and I think I just want to check with council that under our standing legislative referral, it would be appropriate to have this as a discussion to talk about and maybe have staff review in terms of the February 9th meeting what legislation might be out there that's being talked about at the federal level. We can just go ahead and proceed, and then we'll get it on with some other project, get it on with some other legislative components as we go forward. Does that work?
Are you referring to the General Government
Yes,
Committee?
general government. So we have the standing referral, and I just want to make sure council thought that this could fit within that.
Yes, you could.
Okay,
I
so we
agree.
don't need a motion.
I agree.
I don't have any problem with that. The only thing, I don't want to give this the indication that we're basically going to bury it in a committee, because that's just one avenue of that. I think we all need to stay busy and advocate. I mean, because, you know, our seniors out there are in extreme peril with these economic times. Actually, they have been before this economic downturn. Most seniors doesn't really affect what happens to the Wall Street bankers. It's what affects your electricity bill and your gas bill and your food bill. That's what is affecting our low-income seniors. And we need to step up the level of awareness of what's going on and not just ask to get them support, demand it. Because this whole, as I said, this whole argument of there's just no money is out the window as far as I'm concerned. When you can spend billions and billions of dollars for Wall Street bankers that don't even give a damn about this country. It's crazy. We got to bring back the money to help the people that's made this country what it is. So with that, Tom, you want to comment here?
Tom Mitchell, Chief Executive Officer. I just wanted to remind those people in the audience that our item at 2 o'clock today on legislative priorities is specifically to address our annual earmark process that we go through. So there are no established legislative priorities before the board at this time, other than the specific projects that are highlighted on the board letter that we're asking our representatives for consideration.
Thank you. And with that, we're going to,
If I might just clarify, I have two directives for the record that I think the board is, general consensus of the board to direct staff of the Health and Human Services Agency and the Executive Office to work with Mr. J.R. Rose to prepare a resolution for board action. And a second directive, general consensus of the board to direct the General Government Committee to review this topic at their February 9th meeting, Understanding Legislative Matters. Is that accurate?
that's accurate.
Thank you.
And it was also to contain cover letters that would go to our elected officials that would be submitted at the same time we had the draft resolution.
Yeah, so directed. Yeah. And Susan, did you want to say something?
I just had a question in terms of timeline, when the board needs this, and then I can follow up with Mr. Rose as well as Ms. Baden-Ford.
I don't think we need to put a date on this, but I don't know of much anything that's more important than this issue. So as soon as...
We'll make it a top priority.
Yeah. And I'd like to encourage Mr. Rose and the rest of you to do whatever you can to keep this on the top burner here, and let's do what we can to not just talk about it, but change things. Tom?
Just a point of clarification, general government meets on February 9th. That is the next scheduled meeting of that committee, so you might put that on your calendars.
JR, you had some final
I just want to
comments.
thank you very much for helping out the seniors. I think this is very important. As the young lady said, become passionate. Yeah, I can become passionate about it. Yes, I do. Because I think that people who've worked all their life and done the right things should not be punished. I think they need a better justice from our government than what they're getting. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we're going to move down to item 5A will be at 2 o'clock, the legislative report from the CEO's office. We're going to move to agenda item 5B, the budget offer report, CEO. I guess we can combine this with the next agenda item 5E, which is discussion of possible action, including approval of transmittal of a letter to the state legislative representatives in opposition to the state's proposed deferred payments to counties. So we don't really need to take this. You can kind of combine it together. We have with us here this morning Jennifer Wyatt from the CEO's office.
Yes. Good morning, Mr. Chair, Board of Supervisors. Today I provided a resubmittal basically of the budget officer report that was submitted to the board last week. I did this because I wanted the board to have the background information again and to go along and coincide with the agenda item presented today for to transmit a letter to the our state legislative representatives in opposition to the state's proposed deferred payments to counties. Basically, the letter states that if the board approves today of the opposition of the state deferrals, it lists various impacts to the Mendocino County, and as stated in the support letter, the approximate amount is $15 million. We would be joining opposition amongst the majority of the counties in the state of California today to oppose these deferrals, as these would have devastating impacts to Mendocino County as well as across the state. And I'm just providing that information for the board to approve today.
Any